What's good, Taekwondo Fury? It's a beautiful day in Brooklyn, and I came for my kicking session, but I got a little bit of time before I start. So I wanted to take today to switch it up and do a little bit of storytelling. And today what I'm going to be covering is how I went from in 2023 doing both nationals, USAT and AAU first round loss, to becoming USAT national champion and AAU national team member in 2024. So there was a big change in a lot of different aspects of my life, but I want to pinpoint just a few key ones that I feel like were most important. To give a little bit of a backstory, I started Taekwondo when I was about 13, so that's around 2012. I moved to Korea in 2015 to go to high school there, specifically for Taekwondo. And then I also majored in Taekwondo at Kyunghee University in 2018. In 2019, I came over here back to the States to make the national team, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. And I came through a few of different struggles, just adjusting to, the lifestyle over here back in the States again. And then, juggling just life. So every athlete, every parent can understand what I'm coming from here. So I gotta work. I gotta do my other different responsibilities while trying to keep up being a full-time athlete. And I ran into some roadblocks, and I was just at the time of my life around 2021 where I felt like I needed to focus a little bit more on the financial side. And then once I get back and once I get a little bit more stable on my feet, I wanted to come back to the game. And that's exactly what happened in 2023. I had spent maybe 2-3 years out of the game, and I was just itching to come back. I had been able to save up a little bit of money, so I said, you know what, let me go do this. Let me chase my dreams and come back into the game. I did that, and I was feeling good. But then, boom! I step into the ring at AAU. I lose the first fight. Step into the ring in USAT. I lose the first fight, and I felt like I was in decent shape. Maybe not the best shape, but I was in decent shape. My kicks weren't bad. I still have the experience over the 10 plus years that I have up to now, but I just wasn't able to pull it off. And I got the utmost respect for both of the fighters that I went up against, but I didn't feel like I should have lost those fights. And I feel like that's every person that takes the loss. They say, "Oh, I don't think I should have lost. It was this, and that." So I'm not making no excuses, but it made me open my eyes. It made me think and sit down and tell myself or ask myself, what am I doing wrong right now? First thing comes first, it's the lifestyle. So I had to make sure that everything that I was doing outside of Taekwondo is devoted towards Taekwondo, because being an athlete is not just a 9-to-5 job. It's not just a school study type of thing where you could just clock in, clock out. You got to be making sure that your nutrition is on point, your sleep schedule is on point, your training sessions are scheduled out, and not just, oh yeah, let me get a run in today, and then if tomorrow I feel like I go to the gym, I go to the gym. No, you need to have a specific routine and regimen that's specific to you, your specific phase that you're in before the fight, and also your body type. So for example, me at that point, I really needed a little bit better of an aerobic base. So I needed better cardio. So I focused a little bit better on low intensity, high volume stuff. And then I gradually moved into more high intensity stuff, which I'm going to talk about in just a little bit. After the lifestyle change, there was also I feel like single-handedly the most important thing that changed in my game plan was the game plan. So I came into 2023 thinking, okay, yeah, I know my best weapons. I'm going to just go out there, use them. I know the timing for them. If I see the timing, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to just hope that it scores. And that's why I took the L in both first fights. So what I changed is not just saying, okay, what am I doing good or what am I good at? I need to assess not only what I'm good at, but what am I looking to score with during the fight and in what situation. So for example, right, let's say I'm trying to score a appar, like a front leg roundhouse kick. How am I going to set that up? Am I just going to look for when the guy gives it to me or when I see the timing? Or am I going to influence the fight, right? Maybe I push him back first with a cut. Maybe I give a fake. He lifts his front leg. I let him drop it, and then I extend, right? Or maybe I give him a little fake, right? He gets off balance, and then I extend, and then I work to the inside, and then I'm going to do something else, right? But I got to be thinking in my head already. I got to be image training or visualizing what I'm going to do to get to the situation where I could throw my best kicks. So again, like I said, if that's the up-eye, that's the up-eye. If it's an inside kick, how am I going to get to the inside without getting scored on? If that's a spin, how am I going to get them to raise their front leg in the incorrect timing for them, but putting them, basically setting them up a trap for my spin myself. After that, after I've assessed myself, this is where a lot of athletes and coaches stop. But I also have to start assessing the other person, right? So if I'm going into nationals, that's coming up in, we have 4 weeks away from AAU and 8 weeks away from USAT. But if I'm going into nationals, I gotta be analyzing every single fighter in this division. So if I know I got fighter A, B, C, D, E, I gotta have a game plan for each and every one. And this is one of the most important things I feel like is in not only my game, but also lacking in a lot of fighters' games that I've seen, in the past few months when I watch these competitions. Because you want to be able to see what this fighter's tendencies are, what the weakness is, what their strengths are, and you want to make your game plan around that. So, for example, right? If this fighter, they a long fighter, they fight good, reaching long, double pump with the cut, reach over the shoulder with the axe, they flip the appa over the shoulder, right? I want to take that whole aspect of the game away. So no long fighting. I want to get to the clinch. I want to keep the game short. I want to make it a little bit more of a dog fight. I want to make sure that this person can't extend and do those kicks that he's best at. So I'm making him play a game that's playing to his weaknesses. Another thing, right? Like I said, talked about tendencies. Does this fighter, does he happen to lower his shoulder before he kicks? Does he put his weight on his back leg before he kicks? Does he do a certain thing before he kicks? After he kicks, how is he looking? Is he sloppy? Is he ready to do another kick? Is he ready to counter? Or is this something where I feel like there's an opening and that's when I should be going in there and using my best weapons to score, right? So I got to be able to not only take into account my strengths and my weaknesses, but also the other person's strengths and weaknesses. And then from there, okay, I know both of our strengths and weaknesses. I also have to visualize in my head, how am I gonna beat this puzzle? What pieces do I got to put into this equation to make sure that I come out with a W every single time, right? So like I said earlier, right? Let's say if my strength is a clinch kick, and I'm going up against someone that their strength is a long distance double pump cut into axe, I'm not going to take a single step back in that fight. Every time he brings his double cut up, I'm canceling, I'm getting that out the way, I'm sliding forward, I'm punching, I'm working to the clinch, I'm keeping it on the inside. They say, they break it up, they say go again, I'm working straight back to the inside, right? I don't want to give him no room. I want to keep it so he feels like he's suffocated the whole fight. Vice versa, if I'm a taller fighter, right, and I'm fighting someone shorter, I want to make sure that every time they try to get to the inside, right, whether they're trying to punch, they're trying to kick their way to the inside, I'm catching them before they could get to me. I'm catching them before they could get into their range. And since I have more reach than them, right, at the end of my reach, I could touch them, they can't touch me. I want to be keeping all the kicks at the end of that reach. So it makes it really annoying, really difficult for that shorter fighter to come into me, right? And it was only once I was able to implement this specialized game plan for each and every fighter in my division that I was able to start seeing some success. And then that's basically how I turned my career around here in the States from, taking these L's back to back to being able to take that chip last year. And that's exactly what I plan on doing this year as well. Also, you have to make sure that when you're making your game plan, right? You can't just do it off the top of your head. Because when you go to a competition, right, you got adrenaline, you got nerves, you got this and that, everything, you juggling, you waiting for, when did they call my name or not? Did they call my match number or not, right? So I always recommend having all of the game plan you have for each and every fighter written down. You should have your general game plan for everybody in general. You should have the specific strengths and weaknesses of each fighter. And then below that, for each fighter, you should have your specific game plan for that fighter, just like I talked about earlier. And this is exactly what I provide to my students in the Taekwondo Fury Institution. I'm trying to think. Okay, off the top of my head, I got Mr. David. He just went to the World Master Games, and congrats to him. He just took that bronze medal. But he was asking me how to fight this fighter. He was a little bit more old school, like to hit these lefties on the inside, a little bit of fakes, and he'd like to bait the other person into the corner so he could throw those spinning back hook kicks. Moon Dae-sung 2004 Olympic Athens final-esque, right? But basically what I told him is for this fighter, right, he's trying to use his feints to get to the inside. You want to catch him before he could even get to the inside. And then also he's trying to bait you to come into the clinch. So he's trying to pull back, pull back, pull back, and then once the other person overextends, he wants you to he wants you to run into him so he could throw that spin, right? So what I told him is, okay, yeah, pressure him into the clinch, right? You start off with that pressure first, whether it's the cut or the punch, or you know, you're not giving up no space, you cancel and then you put it down, you eat the space, right? But once you get him into the corner, you don't go in first. Because that's what he wants, right? His strength is baiting someone into corner, getting them to overreact, overreach, and then he tries to score that spin. So then from there, you get him into the corner right where he wants, but you just fake at him. You tap at him. You never overcommit. And then what this is doing is he thought it was going to be playing into his strengths, but it's actually like, oh man, like I'm right where I want to be in the match, but he's not biting. He's not coming in. So what does that do? Makes him anxious, makes him nervous. He's in the corner. Eventually, he's going to come out. So all you got to do is wait for him to come out. And that's not his strength. Him coming out of the corner is not his strength. You have a counter set up, back kick, punch, front leg appa, pull back, double, whatever it may be. You're setting him up where he thought he was in his strength, but he's not. He gets anxious, throws an off-time kick that's maybe not to his best ability or best timing. And then that's when you take advantage of it. And because that he was able to take that bronze at the World Master Games. I also got Steven, one of my other students. He's a little bit, he's younger in the cadets, and he's up and coming, right? And a little bit more new school. And I saw that, you know, he was having a little bit trouble with fighting these taller fighters, as everybody do, you know, even me, you know. I always have trouble fighting these taller fighters. You know, it's annoying in this you know, electronic scoring system. You know, I could throw 3-4 kicks that are strong, not score, but this taller fighter gets, you know, 1-2 headshot on me, just barely grazing me, and it's 6 points already, right? So basically every time that he would fight a taller fighter, he's getting pushed into the corner, he's getting clipped with these dinky headshots, and he's like, you know, Coach Denny, what could I do? So I see that every time that the other person is kicking, he's pulling back. And I covered this in a few other videos, but I told him that I don't want you to pull back at all when you're fighting these taller fighters. I want you to stand your ground. I want you to have a fast cancel. So every time they lift their leg, you get in your cancel up faster, get that out the way, other person gets off balance, push back, you slide forward right away. But you're still ready with your defense. You're not sliding forward with your body forward. You're sliding forward with your body back. Eat that space, and now I'm still safe. If they throw another cut at me, I do the same thing. Cancel that out the way, eat the space, right? So I'm walking them down. Everything that they throw at me is hitting this this perfect bubble of defense. And then once I get them into the corner, right? Now this is where I could shake and bake. I could pick and roll. I could do whatever I want, right? If I wanna be a little bit more passive, right? I could still stick to those cancels. If I wanna get him to run into a counter of my own, I give him a fake. He makes a mistake, get that leg out the way, punch, get to the inside, work, right? If he throws a kick that caught me off guard, yes, I can slide back maybe 1 to 2 times, reset, and then start repressuring. And this is one of the best places to be able to slide back as a shorter fighter, because yes, you don't want to be short and sliding back, but if I have him in the corner, I could slide back and still be, you know, at least farther than the middle of the ring. So once I reset, boom, I just start pushing him back again. And then last things, for the punches, right? He was overreaching, right? So it's a long distance. He's like, oh, I want to get to the inside. Let me throw this punch. And then the taller fighter, you know, he's catching him. So I was telling him, you know, when you're trying to set up those shorter range techniques, you can't be over telegraphing it, right? From a long distance. You got to get to the inside close, right? You're making him uncomfortable, taller fighter, right? Give him a few fakes. He throws his weapons at you. You get it out the way, right? With the cancel, with the front hand defense, you work your way to the inside. He's super uncomfortable. Give him a fake, lifts his leg, boom, punch to the inside, and then you can get to work, right? And then it's because of these specific small little nuances, right? It's not like huge stuff. Both of David and Steven's coaches are great coaches, but it's just you know, these small little details that I was able to pick out and analyze from both them and their opponents, the footage that they sent me. Because that, you know, it took their game to the next level. So the reason basically that I wanted to do this whole storytelling today is, like I said earlier, AAU Nationals is coming up in 4 weeks. We also got USAT Nationals coming up in 8 weeks. And I just want to make sure that everyone that is watching Taekwondo Fury Institution and is tuning into the YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be, that if you're fighting at Nationals, that you make sure that you have a solid game plan. And what I'm talking about is a game plan that's not only about me and my strengths and weaknesses, but is also about my opponent, my specific opponents, right? Fighter A, fighter B, fighter G, and what their strengths, what their weaknesses are, what I'm going to be doing, what I'm not going to be doing during the fight, right? So that's just tactic wise. And then from there, you also have to have mental sharpness. You have to have mental visualization. You have to have the right mindset as well. You have to make sure that when you step in a ring, right, you're not super nervous, you're not freezing up, right? You've already done all the mental preparation that's needed so you could come into the ring and make all of the hard work that you put in your training count, right? And then also, lastly, right, you got to make sure that you have a strong strength and conditioning program that's specific towards Taekwondo. Like I said at the start of the video, right, I was going from aerobic to anaerobic, right? And that's something that is very important when you're going into a high intensity sport, combat sport, especially like Taekwondo. You got to be able to not only have an aerobic base so you can catch your breath, but you got to be able to have an anaerobic base so you can come out in these short bursts of high intensity explosiveness and not get gassed. So I don't want you to throw 3-4 kicks in a row and then get gassed and not be able to fight the correct way the rest of the fight. You got to be able to have both tanks, which is why it's so important to have a Taekwondo specific SNC. But basically, yeah, I just went over my 3D, I call it like three-dimensional game plan. So that's the tactics, that's the strength and conditioning, Taekwondo specific, and that's also the mindset. These are three things that we cover in the Taekwondo Fury Institution. And I'm not saying that you have to buy in, but I am saying that I care about everyone fighting to their highest capacity and their highest potential. And if you do want to do that, you have to make sure that you have a game plan, something esque to what I just described. But anyway, I know I'm going on too far. I'm rambling. I love Taekwondo. I love the sport. I love to talk about it all day. But I'm about to go get my kicking session in. I hope you guys are training hard, put in that work. As always, if you have any questions, hit up the comment section. If you're already in the institution, send me a personal message. I'll break down your fights. I'll give you your game plan. And let's get to work, fam.